What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. We are back Fridays and Mondays, 1:30 p.m. PST. Justin is joining shortly, but I want to get the show started as close to the official start time as possible. We got Chad Bees in the mix already. Chad B says, we made it, fellas. One more sleep until fight night. Let's go, let's go. And barely one more sleep. Actually, the main card starts in less than 24 hours because it's in Paris and it's on Paris time. Let's go. Shout out to the time change. Chad Bees also says, also some college football to help pass the time. Yo, I got to admit something, people. And I got to admit something to you, Chad Bees, in particular. I don't watch anything but MMA. I only love MMA. Justin's a football fan. He watches the NFL. I don't know if he watches college football, but I don't. By the way, I went to University of Michigan, so shame on me, some of you might say, for not being more of a college football fan, but it is what it is. Man in the box 223 says first. You're actually, that's the third comment, but still respect. What's up, Matthew? Matthew says, what's up? What's up, everybody? It's interesting. We got a pretty darn big fight tomorrow. I got to say, it's a huge fight, especially if you're a Khamzat Chimaev fan. This is a major fight. This is likely going to be Khamzat Chimaev's next opponent. Although, actually, here's what I want to do. Oh, man in the box says second. Yeah, second, you could say, after Chad Bees. Fair enough. I want to throw something out to you guys before Justin joins. I was just listening to MMA Guru talk to Tim Welch on the Tim Welch YouTube channel. And there's, Matthew says college football is lit. Let's go. Michigan, Wolverines, let's go. But I gotta say, man, and you guys tell me if you agree or disagree. There's a lot of things that have happened, right? We have, Barat says, I prefer Imavov versus Chimaev. I would like that too. I'm leaning towards Caio Borralho to pull it off. I think he's gonna win. But, can't believe Pitbull fight is off. Yeah, that's crazy. But here's the thing, okay? Ali Abdelaziz came out and said he claims that RDR wanted to fight Khamzat Chimaev in October. He said he would do it. They were in talks or something. And then I guess, according to Ali, if you believe him, right, he could be saying this just for the benefit of his fighter. But he said that fight didn't happen because of Khamzat's side, not because of his side. He said he represents RDR. RDR was ready to take the fight. They didn't book it. Instead, they booked RDR versus Fluffy Hernandez. Imavov versus Borralho was already booked. And Khamzat said he wants to stay active. Now, this very well may not be true, but I have this weird feeling, and tell me if you guys think I'm onto anything. I have a weird feeling that the UFC wants to book Chimaev against somebody else in the meantime. Like, he's going to fight either the winner of Imavov versus Borralho or Fluffy versus RDR, fight like one after the other. I don't know, right? If Imavov or Borralho gets a great finish on Saturday, then it might just be booked. But I have a weird feeling, and I see Chad B says UFC definitely wants Chimaev on Paramount card. That could be. But hear me out here. With those 4 people booked, okay, let's say Chimaev really puts it out there. I want to fight in October. I want to fight in the Abu Dhabi card. I don't care if I'm co-main. Just theoretically, okay? Just hear me out. Who can they put him against? You've really only got 2 options, and both are huge stars. You've got Sean Strickland or you've got Israel Adesanya. And the UFC could do it via the following justification. Look, we want to book. I know other people online, but they're all booked up. They already got fights. They can't make the fight. Chimaev wants to fight in October. So we can't go to these 2 guys. They need more time to recover, etc. So on this basis, okay, I'm just bringing Justin in here. On this basis, I could see the UFC, and this is a long shot. Nobody else is saying this. I very well could be wrong, but just tell me if anybody thinks there's anything to what I'm saying. The UFC could say, look, you guys can't be mad at us for kind of disrespecting the order of operations, the meritocracy of the whole thing. We need a Sean Strickland because Sean Strickland's his suspension's up. He's the only one that's available that's in the top 5 or top 3 or whatever it is to fight Chimaev. We're going to make that fight. We want it to be Imavov or Borralho. Don't get mad at us, but they're already booked or they need time to recover. Or they could do the same thing with Izzy. Okay, if Strickland, for whatever reason, doesn't want to fight Chimaev or isn't ready for that fight, they could slot Izzy in there. And again, to me, I get what you're saying, Chad, that you're saying, I'm going to address your Strickland suspension because his suspension is going to be up in November. Okay, fine. Not for the October card, but they could do something in December with Sean Strickland. But they could slide it in there under that premise Okay. And people wouldn't be able to get mad because the other guys are already booked. Enough time has passed, so they won't even look at it as a strategic play. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree? Man in the Box, Justin, what's up? Welcome to the show. And so Man in the Box says, yeah, Strickland is suspended. Now, the suspension is supposed to end in December, but he's apparently doing anger management. So as long as he doesn't get kicked out of anger management, he could be ready to fight in November. I don't know. Look, if I was the UFC, I would probably do that because you could logically get by and make that fight and not piss people off, or Strickland or Izzy jumping the line. And what if Izzy loses again? There's no way you can put Izzy in there. What if Strickland loses again, right? He lost to DDP. What if his next fight is tough and he loses? Then he might be out of title contention for a very long time. And there's beef there. There's actual heat. There's drama. So to me, it's such a slam dunk, and I think it would be such a big fight. And you could just set it up, boom, have Chimaev go in there, do his thing, and then he can fight the winner of those fights later on. Anyways, that's my thoughts. Matthew says, and by the way, just so you know, Justin James trains with Sean Strickland. Matthew, I'm just letting you know, I'd like to see him ragdoll Strickland. I mean, I'm not going to even get into the matchup or anything today because it hasn't been announced. It is what it is, but it's a fight that I want to see because of the beef, and I think it'd be great. Strickland's talked a lot of smack. He's talked a lot of smack. So, I mean, hey, however it goes, but I'd love to see that. I think Justin would agree with me. About time James decides to show up, Chad B says. What's up, Justin? Matthew says. What's up, boys? Western is back in the mix, and Broad said, would love Strickland versus Chimaev, right? I mean, dude, Strickland versus Chimaev is a banger. It's a super fight. It's a super, super fight. All right, guys, let's get into the show. What's up, everybody? Let's get into topic number one. Now, if you guys didn't get a chance to check out the Imavov Borralho breakdown video that Justin made, you should check it out. It's on the channel. I think that people aren't as accustomed to us or Justin doing breakdown videos, but you got to check it out because this is why I can't do those videos. Only Justin can, because he's a coach. He's a fighter. He can see the game for what it is and really understand the patterns and the tendencies. So he breaks it down really well. But Justin, for folks who haven't gotten a chance to listen to your breakdown of the fight, it's a lengthy breakdown. It's like 20 minutes. He goes through footage, everything, the works. But give us a top-down view. What are the tendencies that you spotted when you watched footage? And then ultimately, how do you see this fight go down?
Well, I don't want to sound like a broken record because it's the tendencies that they have. Like they fight very similar, and if you've seen my video, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's relatively simple. Some of the differences I've seen, obviously, besides that, Borralho southpaw, or he comes out in a southpaw, he does switch to orthodox, but he primarily is in a southpaw stance. When you have Imavov, on the other hand, who's primarily sticking in an orthodox stance, both guys are hiding behind their lead hand. As I mentioned, they both play a patty cake game where they're kind of reaching out. They both get called for fingers to the face a lot, or at least in the 3 or 4 fights each that I watched on them, because they're constantly reaching. And there were some pictures that we were able. Thanks, Lane. Appreciate that, man. But hiding behind that jab, both having a 75-inch reach, has had a lot of success with them. Now, two guys are going to have a similar game plan. Man, it's okay. So the head movement, Imavov doesn't have very much head movement. He's here, and he kind of just walks in front of his opponent. Now, his reaction time, his counter fighting is so good that he's essentially waiting for his opponent to move so he can react and he can counter fight, whether he's lunging over with his right hand, whether he's slipping to the right to fire his right. But his primary weapon, by the way, on the microphone, I have a dial here. One's little, one's small. Does my volume go up or down when I turn this?
It just went down when you turned it. And then now,
what about now? Is it up or now?
Now it's good. It sounds good. Guys, let us know in the comments. Are me and Justin, do we sound about this? Like, you sound good to me, but let us know, how does Justin sound? Does he sound too loud, too quiet, etc.? And then he can tweak it as follows.
Yeah, because I have a just dial that I'm not sure exactly what it is yet. But anyways, Imavov, he has a thunderous right hand, and he throws it with nasty, nasty intention, harder than almost anybody I've seen throw this right hand. From a technical standpoint, Borralho has better head movement. He has better footwork, and he's a little more unpredictable in the sense. Now, something that Borralho does that I really, really like a lot, I'm such a big leg kick advocate. Borralho will switch to an orthodox stance, but essentially he's setting up his low line calf kick, and he had incredible success with it against Jared Cannonier. He actually sat Jared down at one point in the fight from a low line calf kick. Jared falls right down. Now, when your leg is compromised and you're focused and you're thinking about that in a fight, and again, I'm not speaking from hearsay. I didn't hear this from somebody. I didn't hear this from a fighter. I'm speaking from experience because this has happened to me. When your leg starts to get compromised or something on your body starts to get compromised and the guy keeps going back to the well to hurt that same spot over and over, you start thinking, what do I have to do to avoid this? Well, that's the time that Borralho in his change, he changes. So once he has you really focused on like he did Jared Cannonier, takes his legs out, he's chopping away at his base, then he switches his stance. Now, naturally, you see that stance switch, you think, okay, he's going to go to the calf. I got to get ready to counter. But instead of going to the calf, he throws a rear teep kick to the chest and or to the face. Unfortunately for him, it didn't land. But man, fighting from all these different angles. I give Borralho, again, I give him the technical aspect. I think their wrestling and their grappling is going to negate. They're both about the same level of that. They're both good. They're not great. I think early on in both of their careers, they had a lot more success in the wrestling grappling department. I don't think Imavov has even had a takedown attempt in his last 3 fights.
Yeah. I saw that in the video.
I think I mentioned that in the video. As one of them they haven't even taken a shot in the last 3 fights. But with that being said, I could see Borralho really mixing in with his wrestling here to set up his striking. Borralho, it's really hard to bet against Imavov because he could lose the first round. He's lost rounds in the past, and then all he has to do to change the fight is land that one big overhand, whether it's followed up by an uppercut, which I fucking love. I call it a rocking chair. We throw the over and then come with the upper. You're essentially like a rocking chair rocking back and forth. He has a great over upper and he has a great over left and left hook. And I can appreciate it so much because that's my favorite combo. I love countering with an overhand right. When I stumble him back, bang, finish him off that over or that big left hook. So from a betting standpoint, although Imavov is a dog, he's not a small dog. Is he? I think he's plus 110, which is essentially a coin flip. All right, it's a 50-50. Borralho, I believe, it was minus 135. Again, we're at a coin flip. We talk about the VIG, minus 135 to plus 110. There's about a 45 cent difference. And I say cents for the people that understand sports betting. That's called the VIG. That's where the bookie makes their number. But essentially, this is a coin flip fight. I can't bet against Imavov because he can end the fight at any time. But from a technical aspect, if Borralho doesn't eat that right hand, I expect him to win. And I think it's better for the UFC if he wins because there's more marketability behind Borralho.
Barat says, just watch Imavov versus Buckley, and after Adesanya, Imavov moved a lot more versus Buckley, but against Adesanya, much more stationary. Thoughts? Justin, what are your thoughts on Imavov being more stationary against Adesanya? By the way, that's a fight where Adesanya was lighting him up until he got caught again with that right overhand.
Exactly. And I thought Jared Cannonier had some good things. And so again, we talk about Buckley. It's people change tendencies with experience, because there's been fights early in my career, even as much as 6-7 fights ago to where I'm doing certain things that I'm not doing now. Yes, against Buckley, he did move around a lot. But since then, I just feel he's been lackluster with his movement. He's been relying on his reaction. He's been relying on his athleticism and his power to finish fights, which isn't a bad thing. Because again, as you're fitting into your game, you're going to change things and you're going to change your tendencies. And maybe he comes out and he thinks, man, after you watch footage, you're like, man, I didn't move around very much. Maybe I need more head movement. But the tendencies that I see, the consistencies that I see since fighting Buckley, he just doesn't move around as much. And whether he continues to go down that streak and counter fight with big power punches, time is the only thing that'll tell.
From your breakdown video, from everything I watched, it made me lean towards Caio. And it's, again, because of the diversity of attacks, the way that you mentioned, he plays more of almost like a cerebral game with attacking the legs, switching stance, getting you confused, and then attacking you in a different way. So that's the way I guess that I'm going to go. But it's, again, based on Justin's analysis and based on his video. So we'll see. It's going to be a great fight. This is the one fight on the card, obviously, tomorrow that I think I and everybody is super excited about. So we'll see what goes down. MGal4 Productions back in the mix. He says, Justin James, GOAT. And MGal4 Productions, let us know if you saw that prediction video.
I have a correction I have to make. A correction. I just looked it up because Barat said, forgive me, I was wrong. It was Caio that hasn't taken a shot in the last 3 fights.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got it mixed up, guys. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Barat says Imavov had a couple takedown attempts. Sure. Imavov gassed out in the 3rd against Buckley, which makes me wonder if he's conserving energy now because he realized he didn't have the cardio to move that much. I guess we shall see. And then MGal4 Production says Imavov sniped Stylebender. Yeah, that was actually a crazy one because
I don't think it was a snipe. I'm sorry to cut you off. I don't consider that a snipe. I consider it an incredible overhand power shot. A snipe to me is like a long range. I'm not saying you're wrong in saying the terminology, but when I think of sniper, I think of precision. I don't think, because if you look at, he throws an overhand over and over and over and over, and finally he lands it once and he can finish. When you talk about a sniper or a sniping shot, that's a one shot. He gets one punch. It's his first, like, okay, Conor sniped Jose Aldo. That's a sniper shot. But against Adesanya, he threw the punch 100 times and he finally landed it. So again, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's tomato, it's semantics. But that's the way I look at it when I think of a sniper shot.
MGal4 Productions talks about Strickland beating Imavov. He said people forget how good Strickland is. Only lost to Duplessis recently. Yes, that's fair. Justin can attest to that. Sees him spar at Extreme Couture all the time. Andrew says, let's effing go. Oh, man in the box 223 says Conor McGregor is an example. Yeah, exactly. It's an example of a sniper. What did you say? Wait, what did you? Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Conor McGregor is that one shot. He's looking right down the pipe. It's not reckless. He's a great counter fighter. That's more of a, yeah, exactly. Man in the box. Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Let's go. All right. Well, very excited for this fight. This again goes down, the main event starts at noon PST, 3 p.m. EST tomorrow. Look forward to that. Look forward to seeing what goes down there. MGAT4 Production says Prime Izzy to win. He fought Costa, was a sniper. Yes, true. Yeah, I think a lot of people would call Izzy a sniper as well. More so back in the day. I think especially with some of those earlier fights when people were less familiar with his fighting style, he's able to get away with that a bit more with his amazing counter striking. Okay, guys, let's move on. Now, I wanted to talk about this because I thought this was pretty interesting. I saw so Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane did a quick little press conference in Paris, in the midst of this UFC Paris card. And man, it was pretty cool because remember how the crowd booed the crap out of DDP every time DDP would talk in the presser? They did that to guess who? Tom Aspinall, because they were in Paris, obviously. And it just showed me how much the Parisians and the French people are behind Ciryl Gane. And it got me kind of excited for the fight because he does have a big fan base. And it would really, I think, excite the people of France. Like, I don't think there's ever been a French champion, I believe, right? Ciryl Gane's been an interim champ, but he was never the official heavyweight champ. So I think that would be pretty cool. Justin, when you see a nation or a crowd or, people at the press are getting so amped where they boo Tom to the point where he can't even talk, does that excite you for a main event, or is those type of things not interesting to you?
No, that the fans, they don't make it interesting. The fighters make it interesting. And you know what? Ciryl Gane's good. And I know I talk a lot of trash about him. I'm sure he's a great guy and he's a great fighter, but I mean, just such a lackluster performance against John Jones. And as I've talked about with the Tom Aspinall, if Tom doesn't go in there and put a staple on Ciryl Gane, now we got to talk about John Jones for 6 months. So I feel like all this hate that I give to Ciryl Gane isn't warranted. I really shouldn't pick on Ciryl because he had a bad performance against John Jones. It's more the fact of, if Tom doesn't go in there and do what he needs to do, we have to talk about John Jones for 6 months more. So again, it's not so much that I don't like Ciryl Gane or I don't think he's a good fighter. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's championship quality. I think he has too many holes. I think he's an incredible striker. I think he can put on incredible fights, and he can win fights too. But Ciryl Gane lines up with John Jones, and I'm so sick of talking about John Jones. So anybody that lines up with him, I'm essentially going to show dislike for.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm on the other side of the fence. I just think that now, because of all the hype that's gone on between Tom Aspinall and John Jones, people are just expecting Tom Aspinall to run through Ciryl Gane. I think it would actually be cool if Ciryl Gane does pull it off and does get this slight upside. Plus, I've always been a fan of Ciryl Gane. I like the way he talks. I like the way he fights. I like that kickboxing style. I like the way he's light on his feet. The way he moves, I think, is great. I was really big. I wanted him to beat Francis Ngannou, by the way, which is another one of Justin's teammates. But I was rooting for him to beat Francis Ngannou. I was really bummed that he didn't pull that off because he is very exciting to me. I know you disagree, but I guess we shall see. And
I don't disagree. I think he's very dynamic. I think he moves really well from a striking standpoint. I think he's exciting. But this isn't kickboxing. This is MMA. And when you get subbed by a guillotine in like 2 minutes, I mean, yeah. Like I said, he just didn't do the things that you're taught on day one to fight. Now, had he went for the hands and he tried to roll and he goes to sleep, I have a lot of respect for that. But
fair,
put against the fence and quick tap, get the fuck out of here.
Chad Bees brings this up. I personally thought Gane lost to Volkov. Third championship fight is not warranted. Shaking my head. I mean, look, I think a lot of people agreed with you. I am not an expert in scoring fights whatsoever, but I get that a lot of people felt that he lost. But what is the UFC supposed to do? You get into the cage accepting the outcome if it does go to a decision that the judges come to. The UFC can't be like, well, that was a BS call, so we're just going to give vote. Like, you can't do that. The rules state if Ciryl Gane won that fight, he's got to fight. You know what I mean? And it sucks, but that's just how it goes. If Volkov gets another win, he can come back and he can fight. Let's see what happens. But I think at this point, the UFC, they have to do it. I mean, what do you think, Justin? You agree with me, right? Like, what are they supposed to do? The decision goes the wrong way, but slightly. It wasn't like a total landslide victory, right?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the UFC has no say in that. It's all the commission. And, you guys know how much I feel about the commission. I think the Nevada commission is so terrible. Chris Lieben, arguably the worst judge I have ever seen, judge and ref. How does this guy still have a job? And it's funny because I went on a rant, I guess behind Chris's back. I'm like, I bet you wouldn't say that to his face. I was like, bro, I will say it to his face. I'll say it to his mother. I'll say it to his father. Chris Lieben is beyond trash of that. And I'm going off on a tangent because I was talking to some guys this morning about it. But yeah, you never know what these guys are going to do. Adelaide Bird, like, what the hell is she doing? You know what I mean? Like, these people are ruining guys' lives. And I think I'm going to make a video about it. And I'm going to make a video specifically about Chris Lieben. And, regardless, I'm getting off on a tangent here. But you know my feelings towards it.
Yeah, totally get that. All right, well, we'll see. I just want to quickly mention this presser because it did give me extra hype for the fight. I was already hyped for it. I think some people aren't as hyped because people wanted John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, blah, blah, blah. I think this is a great fight. I'm excited. Let's see what happens. I do think it'd be cool if Ciryl Gane won. I'm just saying, but we shall see how it goes down. All right, moving on to topic number 3. This is big news for UFC fans, for the UFC as a business, and for the U.S. as a whole. Check this out. This is wild, guys. This is real. This is happening. The UFC White House details reportedly emerge, including weigh-ins at a historical site. Guess where the weigh-ins are going to be? Take a guess. Wild guess.
I have no idea.
Lincoln Memorial on the steps. Like, dude, those steps are historic. They've been in so many movies, so many shows. Like, that's crazy. I think that's so cool. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the details here. This is happening, guys. Now, they're saying it's no longer going to be happening on July 4th. I guess it's going to be happening in June is what they're saying. I don't know exactly when. I'm guessing the week before July 4th, but that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the weigh-ins at the Lincoln Memorial, which is super cool. And then it's supposed to be on the south lawn of the White House. Let me see if we can find a picture of that. No, I don't think we can. Hold on. I'm going to try and see if I can find a White House South Lawn picture. And here, I can show you right here. Check this out. So if you want to see where this is going to be, I mean, dude, they have a lot of room. Look at this. So right here, this is the South Lawn. You can see the helicopter right there, right? Flying in. Like, there's look how much room that is. They could build a huge octagon there. It's going to be sick. So anyways, guys, I said this before and I'll say it again. TKO, okay? This is the stock symbol that holds the UFC as well as WWE. This has never happened. We've never had an NFL game or an NBA game. They've never built a quarter right there on the White House. Like, this is huge for the sport and for the business as a whole, and I think it's going to continue to shoot it to the moon. We now have the Paramount deal. We now have fights being shown on CBS. The sport is going global beyond global. I mean, it's crazy. And then now to have it be it sort of as a partnered event, and the 250th anniversary, this isn't just like random July 4th celebration. This is going to be in our lifetime, this is the biggest celebration of July 4th ever. Like, this is crazy. Justin, what are your thoughts? How does this make you feel as a devoted MMA fighter, fought in the UFC, trains extreme couture? How does this make you feel?
I love it, man. I mean, it's great for our sport. It's the first time, and you have the NFL, you have the NBA, you have soccer, you have this, and you have that, all these great sports, baseball, America's favorite pastime, and they've never been able to do something like this. So for the UFC to come in here to branch off, here's the thing, with this White House card, it's going to be bigger than anything that's ever happened before. It's going to be essentially the Super Bowl of the UFC. And if they start making an annual event, how cool would it be if they goes, hey, this is UFC White House #1 next year, UFC White House #2, you know what I mean? And have an event, like they do the Super Bowl or like they do the World Series or something like that. Give the UFC some brand notification, because here's the thing, when the Super Bowl's on, whether you're a football fan or not, for the majority, I'm not saying everybody, maybe not you, but a lot of people that don't watch football throughout the year, it's a party. We got the Super Bowl on. We're going to this Super Bowl party. I mean, how many people do you know that don't watch football, but they're going to be at a Super Bowl party with whether they're watching the game or the game's on in the background? Now we have the UFC coming into the White House. Now we have the UFC White House card 1. Now it's a spectacle. Oh, hey, I'm having a UFC card. Oh, it's fun. You're talking about having it on 4th of July?
Well, the week before now, they're saying June,
okay,
but like
even the week before.
4th of July. Yeah.
But I mean, what a great time to just have friends over and being able to introduce them to the sport. My I shouldn't say concern, and it's probably not even that big of a deal, and I'm probably thinking too much into it, is if we have a bunch of Americans on there cross fighting, you know, some really tough guys like Hamza, and all the Americans lose on the card. That would really be a bummer. And I know it wouldn't bother some people, but I'd hate to have an American-based card in front of the White House, in front of the president, and then all our American fighters go in there and just get smashed. That'd be a bummer.
So I'll respond with a couple of things. Number one, I mean, it would be cool to do UFC White House 1, 2, 3. I think this is going to be a one of one. I think the logistics behind it are going to be insane. The security, they're not going to be able to sell tickets. It's going to be an invite only event. Dana White has already said that. So I think it's really just going to be a one of one, and to pull it off is going to be a massive undertaking, kind of like UFC Noche, but I'm all for it. I think that makes it a bigger spectacle to have it be the one and only. And like you said, for the Super Bowl, how many people are going to tune in to this one fight and then come away being like, I'm a massive UFC fan now? Last thing I'll say, and I'm going to turn it back over to you. In terms of the issue of having American fighters lose, there's an easy solution to that. Yes, you can have Americans go up against other fighters, but you just got to have a bunch of fights too where it's American versus American. Then you guarantee an American winner, and it's all good. All right, go for it. What were you going to say?
Here's the thing with the spectacle. You talk about doing this event, all the money it's going to cost and the security costs. Listen, the UFC is, I'm going to look it up right now, but I'm just going to say without looking it up, that's $1 billion company. $1 billion. You know, I saw this crazy statistic. Is it $1 billion? TKO up to $1 billion yet? I assume it is. It has to be.
Oh, for the market cap? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the UFC as a whole. If they're going to sell the UFC, what's it worth right now? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it would have to be the typical projection is like you take your revenue and you can like multiply it by 3 or multiply it by 5, and that would be the cost that you could potentially sell it for. Obviously, with the deal, they're getting 1.1 billion alone from parent. Of course, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. Yeah, it has to be.
So here's the thing. When you talk about billion and million, all right, you know, and this is a crazy statistic, and I know you know this because you're a math guy, you know, 1 million seconds is about 11 to 12 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 to 32 years. And the point of me saying that, it's even if they go in there and they have this $50 million event and they lose money, they're putting on a spectacle. And as the UFC is going to, dude, they're worth $1 billion. If they go in there and they lose money, but they're putting on this spectacle, it's still a win for them. It's advertisement for people to talk about. And I don't know. I'm trying to make a point with this, it makes sense in my head.
Well, listen, that's why they're doing it. Okay. Let me make a couple of clarifications. Like, yes, they may very well lose money on this, but obviously they're doing it because of the spectacle. They're going to draw so many new fans, and it's never been done. It's huge. It's huge for the sport. It's going to get so many eyeballs on the sport that's probably going to increase the fan base substantially and then get more people to buy into Paramount. I mean, it's massive. It's going to be great. I'm not saying that, but I also want to say that a lot of times folks, not trying to like jump down your throat for this by any means, but I'm just pointing this out because people say this all the time. Like Ariel Helwani says this, Luke Thomas, they're like, they've got so much money. They can afford to do this. They can afford. Look, just because they have a certain valuation doesn't mean they have unlimited funds. They still have expenses. You know, they're putting on shows that require massive budgets. And it's not, I guarantee you, not every show you're necessarily always making money. There's going to be times when you have lackluster, at least right now with the pay-per-view model, et cetera. So there's going to be times when they're losing money. So it's not just like, hey, we can do whatever we want. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
Regardless of the money, expenses are still there and we have to be mindful. Anyways, coming back to this, yes, it will absolutely be worth it, more than enough, because there'll never be another time probably with any other sitting president where they're going to have this type of relationship with Dana White where they can actually get them to sign off on something like this. They're doing it. The country is doing it. Trump is doing it because of the relationship, and he loves the sport. That's the only reason. So
I didn't think about that. You're right.
It's going to be incredible. Yeah. No, it's going to be. I'm so excited, and I said this before. And again, I'm not giving people financial advice. All right, but I'm telling you what I'm going to do, and I already said this to you before in a previous show. I'm buying more TKO stock. I've continued to invest more and more money. I want to invest more because this is, I 100% believe, going to massively increase the fan base and it's just going to be a rising tide that raises all ships going forward. All right. Chad Bees, by the way, did respond to your talks of making a video on Chris Lieben. He says that would be a good video. People got to talk about it more. Maybe if enough attention gets brought to it, things will change. All right, let's go. So there's a vote of confidence for you making that video. Let's do it. But moving on, we got more exciting news. And this is news that me and Justin are specifically, I feel, in the right position to talk about this guy. So on Dana White's Contender Series on Tuesday, we had an amazing guy come up that some of you guys may not have heard of yet. Maybe you're starting to realize who he is because he went on Tim Welch's podcast. He trains with Sean O'Malley. But me and Justin know about this guy for quite a while because I've commentated with Justin for one of this guy's fights. Justin, I think you've commentated for like a bunch of his fights. I think there was even a point where you were going to fight Tommy McMillen. So anyways, a guy that we know from Great Falls, Montana, who fights for Fusion Fight League, which me and Justin are going to go commentate for another fight card next weekend in Montana. He finally got a shot on Dana White's Contender Series. He's in the UFC. It's done. So I thought we could talk about Tommy McMillen and give you guys a little behind the scenes of this fighter. So Justin, let me turn it over to you because you know him better than I do. You, in terms of you've commentated for his fights in the past, you were scheduled to fight him at one point. What can you tell us about Tommy McMillen that maybe other folks don't know in terms of his wrestling background, etc.?
He has an incredible wrestling background. He has an incredible grappling background, and he's an incredible striker. He's an overall great MMA fighter. We were never scheduled to fight. It was just in talks. Tara wanted us to fight. I said I'd do it. He didn't want to come up to 155. It wasn't like, he wasn't afraid of me or anything, and it wasn't like that. It wasn't hostile. It would have been a great selling fight. Tommy, I mean, he's the real deal, man. I wasn't sure. I told him this too, to his face, as I wasn't sure how I felt about him at first. Just seemed very arrogant. He wasn't fighting anybody tough. He was knocking them all out. And I was just like, whatever, dude. Like, and his trash talk to his opponents. Like, I'm very respectable when I fight, regardless, even with Carl Deaton, who we had some bad blood and we're still not that cool. Even after the fight, like, he beat me cool. I shook his hand and he asked, he's like, hey, can we be cool now? I was like, no, probably not, but I respect you and it is what it is. And I felt after Tommy beat these turds that he wasn't being very respectful to him. And that kind of bums me out. But as Tommy's growing, as he's maturing, I've talked to him at the bar after the fights, and he's a really good guy. He's a great fighter. He trains out hard. He has an incredible coaching staff behind him. And the sky's the limit, man. This guy's the real deal. Behind Tim Welch, behind Sean O'Malley, they have an incredible system over there. And I'm really excited to see what he does at the next level.
It's funny on the regional scene. It's when these guys walk in with Sean O'Malley and Tim Welch, there's an aura about their team, about Red Hawk Academy, and the caliber of the guys that come out of there. And it's a stark difference from even like amazing gyms in Montana. And even, you guys even obviously have great fighters at Extreme Couture, but it's pretty cool how dialed in they are. They all know fighting, from the sleep science, the nutrition, all the angles. It's really amazing. Now, when we talk about Tommy McMillen in particular, one of the things, so I was listening to Tim Welch today talk to MMA Guru this morning, and they were talking about Tommy McMillen's amazing wrestling career in high school. Now, it's something like he went 52-0, something like that, his senior year. He won every single match. Justin, what does that mean to you in the state of Montana to have a season like that as a senior in wrestling, to go 15-2-0, pinning everybody or something? I don't know too much about wrestling terminology, but how impressive is that?
Yeah, man. Anytime you're undefeated in any sport, even if it's chess or tennis, like being undefeated, there's nobody in the state that they can find that can beat you. I mean, that's a testament to how good you are. But here's the thing. Tommy really doesn't use his wrestling in MMA fights. He's knocking everybody out. Now, there was a time, I don't know if it was the last fight I commentated, whether it was you and I or me and somebody else, but he was going against a good striker and he ate some leather. And I was like, oh shit, like, here we go. Like, I'm going to have to see Tommy persevere. But then, like a seasoned vet, he worked his wrestling in and was able to find the submission. So, like I said, Tommy's a full true MMA fighter. And I'm just going to reiterate, I can't wait to see what he does at the next level.
He's a very complete MMA fighter. But speaking of the wrestling and speaking of using it in certain cases, one of the things about this fight is his sprawls. His sprawls were on point. Even MMA Guru pointed that out. And that's one of the things that Tim Welch says that this guy really has in his tool set. is basically amazing. Anti-wrestling, anti-grappling. His sprawling is probably second to none. So I think it's going to be really, really awesome to see him come in and grow and progress in the UFC. Somebody was saying a great fight one for him would be Nate the Train. I thought that would be a cool fight. Nate the Train is a seasoned vet. Obviously, people love watching him fight. I think Tommy McMillen would be awesome to go up against him. And also, the thing about Justin saying that Tommy has been a little bit disrespectful. Look, I've seen it. You know, when he fights in Fusion, he does like this little dance thing when he wins, and he is very arrogant, but that's also kind of fun. It's also pretty fun, especially in the UFC, to see somebody get in there and jaw it up with different people and talk a lot of smack. So I think he's going to be a lot of fun. Justin, I think he can be a star, both on the talent side and the smack talking side. What do you think? What do you see for Tommy?
I think Tommy has an incredible mouth on him. But again, we're going to the UFC now, and the guy that he just fought was super tough. I've commentated actually his opponent's fights before.
Oh,
yeah. I commentated his opponent's last fight, actually. Super, super tough dude. But Tommy was able to get in there and get it done. That was a credible win, but we're going to the next level. And, we got to be mature. And, like, here's the thing, man, you start doing those dances around somebody that's at your level or ahead and you get knocked out, you're going to look silly, man. And I don't think that's going to happen to Tommy in the first time. But again, we'll see, man. I'm curious to see his maturity. Is he still going to have that same, because when let's face it, guys, and I work for Fusion. I love Fusion. I love everybody I work with, but it's a regional show. You're going to the big leagues now. Are you still going to have that same swag? Are you going to still have that same arrogance? And if you do, are you going to be able to back it up at the next level? I think Tommy has some great sale quality about him. He has great marketability. You see his hair, you see the way he acts, he has his guns and all this. I think it's great marketability, but can he keep that arrogance going? And when I say arrogance, I don't mean it in a negative way. Arrogance is a great thing. It's confidence. Arrogance is essentially confidence. Can you keep that confidence fighting everybody that's at your level? Because unless the UFC decides to feed him a couple guys that are over the hill, everybody's going to be at Tommy McMillen's level. And can he keep that going? Time will tell. And I hope he does. I like Tommy. I've grown to like him a lot. I've talked to him and I, like I said, at first I didn't really care for his arrogance, but him and I had a great sit down talk at a bar, and he told me his whole backstory, and we had a great talk, and we talked about him coming out here and training and so on and so forth. I have a lot of love for him, and I hope he does. I hope he's able to continue to do the things he's doing at the regional level, at the level of the UFC.
You know what's so cool is when we get to go to Fusion and do the commentating and meet the fighters, watching them then debut in the UFC makes it 10 times more exciting. Like, if I didn't know anything about Tommy or his backstory, he'd just be another guy coming in, and we'll see what he does in the first couple fights, whatever. But I highly encourage you guys, if you ever get a chance to watch Fusion fights or Tough Enough or these other more regional promotions, and you get to see some of the because you'll see like banger, amazing fights in some of these regional shows. Like, really, you'll see amazing debut fights. Like, I've seen some fighters where they're 0-0. They're coming in for their first fight as amateurs, and you just get an amazing bang out brawl, very high level kickboxing, very high level grappling. So I think it adds to it so much more, and you see them before that pop, and then now the journey is that much more exciting. So I highly recommend it. And yeah, I feel privileged that I got to see Tommy at least once in Fusion, get to commentate on his fight. Remember I went in and I did his interview. I can't remember if you did it or I did it. Anyways, it's just been really cool to be there at that level ahead of the UFC. So anyways, moving on to topic number 5. This has been everywhere.
I just kicked off your
banner.
Oh,
it's all good. No worries. Let's Evan go 10-7 live, hardcore casual MMA. Welcome to the show. So here's the deal. Okay. We are talking again about Rampage Jackson. Sorry, guys. I know the story has been just beat into the ground. It's definitely a dead horse that is continuing to get beaten. But I did want to talk about it because I made a video yesterday. Didn't get that many views, but it was about Rampage Jackson going on Ariel Helwani show. And just in case you didn't see it, I'm going to pull up a clip from my little slideshow presentation. And I want to show you some of the things that Rampage said on Ariel show. And my main takeaway, I know people disagree because I saw a lot of negative comments and negative videos about Rampage's appearance. I thought it was so impressive. I give Rampage so much credit for going on there and saying what he said, because I know he did it. And again, I've told you guys this. I am an attorney. I don't practice criminal law, and I don't even practice law anymore, but I'm still a licensed attorney in California. I guarantee you he went up there against the advice of his attorneys. He even says that actually in the interview, and just was honest, just said his truth and kind of threw Raja under the bus. But I don't look at it that way. I look at it as him going out there and just wanting to do the right thing and clear the air. And I have so much respect for that. Let me play you a clip. And then, Justin, I want to get your response and reaction. You're a father. I am not. You have a son, so you can probably relate to all angles of this. But check this out. Rampage talking about himself, saying that my son took it too far.
Roger acted like he understood what Andre Munn said, and he took it to himself to hit him a little bit too much. Now, Roger was wrong. As soon as Psycho Stu got knocked out from that slam, Roger should have like left him alone. He shouldn't have hit him no more. Like, all right, you got your payback and stuff like that. Roger took it too far.
I mean, just for him to say that, I think is incredible, because that's going to hurt his case. Eventually when it goes to trial and he's getting essentially arrested by the police, which I do think is going to happen. I'm going to show one other clip. This is, again, Rampage basically conceding and agreeing that he's not trying to defend him and just say, no, he didn't do anything wrong. And as most parents would, and again, I don't fault most parents for that. You're going to want to protect your kids. But the fact that he's just saying, look, he did this, he must now face the music. He's got to face the consequences. I wish more people on this planet would be like that and say, hey, wrong was done, a wrong was committed. We got to face the music. We got to face the consequences, even if it's my son. Listen to this little clip, and then we're going to talk about it. Check this out.
We've been waiting for a arrest warrant. So when you get arrest warrant, I was going to turn him in. We've been waiting for a arrest warrant or whatever. And I got him a turn. I did what my job is as a father to still take care of my son, because I still love him. Even though how upset I am at my son, I still love him. You know what I'm saying? He's my son. But ever since he's become an adult, he don't listen to shit I say. And all I can do is like be a father. But Roger, I keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it real. I'm not going to lie for him and nothing like that. And he knows that I'm gonna give my opinion. He shouldn't have been in that ring. He shouldn't even. As soon as Psycho Stu hit him in the head, he should have handled it right there.
So there it is. Justin, I want to turn over to you and get your reaction as a father, as a fighter. What do you have to say about Rampage and his words and what he said on Ariel's show?
I mean, here's the thing, man. Being a dad is, if and everybody probably agree with me, as my son goes and kills somebody, if we can't prove it, like, I'm going to take it to the grave. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously that's a very exaggerated case, of course. But the problem is the video is the smoking gun. He can't talk it out of it. So Rampage is getting, racist threats, death threats, this and that. How stupid would he look to go in there and try? He can't defend him. He's caught red-handed. The video is the smoking gun. I mean, he has to protect himself, because imagine he has this take right now. Hey, my son did wrong, but he's still getting death threats. Imagine if he's like, oh my God, my son's innocent. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine the repercussions of that? So, I mean, I think, and let me see how I can phrase this, because I don't want it to sound for sure, but if there was no video and it was all hearsay, and you and I can't watch the video over and over and over, and everybody else in the world can see it over and over and over, we can take it probably wasn't that bad, like, because I'm taking it for hearsay, because given personality, I'm in a combat sport. I see people get fucked up every single day. You see it on TV weekly, but I see it every single day. So when someone gets knocked out, to me, it's not that big of a deal. When someone gets knocked out to you, it's a huge deal. So if you're describing this event to me and I can't see it, you're like, oh my God, this guy got knocked out and he got hit 23 times. I'd think, well, I'm not saying you, but I mean somebody in general that's not. I'm like, I probably actually didn't get hit 23 times. It probably wasn't as bad as Huzaifa is saying, because we're gonna take it out. But this is the smoking gun. It's as bad. No, you can't underplay what happened. You can't say, oh, it probably wasn't as bad. The guy's probably describing it wrong. He has the smoking gun. He has to take this approach, and he'll look stupid if he takes any other approach.
That is fair. I will say that he's kind of backed into a corner, but what I think, and it is an interesting point. You talk about the death threats, because I do wonder if that was part of the ulterior motive to get out there and basically protect the rest of his family.
Of course,
and
exactly.
and that's what he thought. But I do think I would say with 99.9% certainty that to maximize Raja's chance of lessening the charges, that they told Rampage to stay silent. And so I thought it was quite honorable that he said, screw the attorneys. I don't care. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say the truth. I thought that was cool. Maybe you might be right that part of that was motivated by other motives. It wasn't just purely like, I want to do the right thing. And also, what does he have? There's not much he can say here because the video evidence is just so overwhelming. So those are all fair, really fair points. And I get that. And it is a terrible situation. I do think the hate towards Rampage is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I did make a video earlier in the week being a bit perplexed at Rampage's behavior. He was continuing to stream with Neon, and like his son is probably hiding out and about to go to jail for like quite a long time. So I thought it was a little bizarre, but I think now him coming out and saying what he said on Ariel show, I think it deserves some respect. He's keeping it real. It is what it is. By the way, guess who's back? Dr. Peener, ICU urologist. What's up? What's up? I wonder if that's his real picture. It's a legendary picture. Hello, gentlemen. Any chance Justin has insight to why Strickland talks about going in there to kill guys, be a psychotic murderer, but fights so defensively with many teeps and jabs? Justin, I mean, I have thoughts on this too, but Justin, let me turn over to you first. If you want to respond, or do you want me to respond first?
It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
All I'll say is this, man. Look, and I'm not even a fighter, but I can get this. Dude, fighting is very, very complicated, very dangerous, very difficult. So you can't just, it's not like you can just go in there and go berserk mode and think that's ever going to win. Everybody has a particular style. Sean has developed his style painstakingly over years and years and years, and he's gotten really good with the Philly shell and using that effectively in mixed martial arts. So, I mean, it's just like, it's his style. And I think in his mind, he is going out there and trying to attack and go out there. But you know what I mean? Like that you can't just all of a sudden change your style to exactly match your trash talk. It doesn't work like that. But anyways, Justin, let me turn over to you. You're actually the actual fighter and you train with Sean. What is your response?
I think you're spot on, man. I think in his head that, I mean, we have these things that we always talk about. Oh, I mean, I've said 1,000 times, I'm going to war. I'm ready to die. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You hear coaches talk about getting on the treadmill and, you know, not jumping off until they die and shit like that. Like, obviously this is all fabricated. And I do think Sean is a little psychopath. Obviously I don't think, I mean, he's fighting guys his own level. You know what I mean? Like you can't be as like, if he, I think when he talks about being and again, I'm just guessing, I don't know. But when he talks about being a psychotic murderer is if these were civilians, he would kill them. But he's fighting guys that know how to fight and defend against his style. And, you know, but you put a civilian in there, go put that Marine in there, that Green Beret or whatever the fuck he was. Look what Sean did to them. Look what Sean did. That's what he's talking about. You put him in a cage with, I think, again, his mentality is this. And again, going against civilians, he would kill him. But when he's going against somebody that's better than him or as good as him, it's a lot harder to do that, I guess. So I'm just going to have to agree with you, to be honest.
And I know people get on his case with like, all he does is jab and teep, but like, I don't see what's so bad about the jabs and teeps. I'm a fan of a good jab. Boxers will say all the time, the most important punch in the game is the jab, and he's mastered. And they say he's got the best jab. His defensive striking, they say, is some of the best in the UFC. I find that interesting. People talk about the teeps and the damage it does. It's an interesting style because even if you're blocking the teeps with your arms, you're beating up the guy's arms. I think it was Dean Thomas or Daniel Cormier that mentioned that when in the Izzy fight, that it doesn't look like the teeps are connecting, but he's beating up the arms and he's beating up the legs with those teeps doing damage to the body. So I don't know, like I just don't understand. I don't know what people are always expecting. Like you're always expecting Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje in the 5th round or something, like, or you're always expecting Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, just slugfest. But that's not always the smart thing to do. It's not always the tactical thing to do. And so I think fighting it's going to be like that sometimes. That's the luck of the draw. But man, I don't know. Isn't a tactical fight pretty cool? I don't know. That's what I think. But Justin, I mean, I know you weren't happy with. You're a fighter, actually a fighter. So you have better insights on this. But I know you aren't thrilled about the Khamzat Chimaev fight. You found that to be boring. To me, I found it interesting. Like maybe talk about that a little bit. So again, that was a tactical, very strategic fight. You know, what was it? But you are a fan of Strickland's fighting style, who some other people don't like. Like, to break it down for us a little bit. Not everything has to be a slugfest, but what is a good fight to you?
Honestly, a good slugfest, dude. I mean, I mean, coming from a wrestling background, I've watched thousands and thousands of hours of grappling, thousands of hours of wrestling, and nothing for me. And again, this is just, it's an opinion. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right and I'm wrong. It's just how I feel, and it's how you feel. You know, I say it often about how I have such a high standard for good fights, but people criticize, oh, well, you like Sean Strickland's. Well, here's the thing, guys. I have an emotional connection with Sean in the sense of he's my teammate. Him and I have squashed some beef. We've had beef with each other before. We've squashed beef. So I know that, should I say no homo before that? But no homo. Like, we have an emotional connection. Like we have a friendship. We have a relationship, a personal relationship. I can call Sean. He's going to answer. I can see him at the gym. We talk daily. So when he fights, regardless if people call his jab teep kick, I still want my buddy to win. Now, when I look at Khamzat, I'm a Khamzat fan. I'm a huge Khamzat fan. But we don't have that kind of relationship. I've only met him a couple times, and it's always in passing. Hi, give a head nod, bye. So if he's not in there slinging them and winging them, trying to knock someone's head off, it's boring to me.
Fair enough. I get that. And I can totally understand that too. When you know somebody or at least have interacted with them, it does make it more exciting. Like, I can't wait to actually see Tommy fight in a full-on UFC card, or different fighters that we've gotten to interact with. Like, all that stuff definitely adds to it, makes it more exciting. Okay, last topic of the show today. And Matthew says, get Strickland on the show. Yeah, we kind of, I don't know, maybe
we've tossed it around back and forth.
I
don't know, man. It's
he's a loose cannon.
He's a loose cannon, and he's very offensive. And you know, the bet. So Eric, I always like what Eric said. It always made me laugh when he was coaching him. Sean and I were going to go on. We're going to do a spearfishing trip. We're going to go to Willow Beach, which was like an hour away in Vegas, and we were supposed to go spearfishing. I didn't know, this is like 3 years ago. I didn't know a lot about Sean, but I knew Eric was working with him. So Eric was next to his locker, and I walk over. I'm like, hey man, like, me and Sean are supposed to go spearfishing. He's like, you're going to get in the water with Sean with a gun. And I'm like, yeah. Like, do you think that's a bad idea? He goes, yeah, I'll try to do exactly what he did. He looks at me, he goes, I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, and I love working with Sean, but he's not somebody I'd have over for dinner. Oh. And I was just like, oh shit. So we never went spearfishing.
Well, there you go. And Matthew says he would be very entertaining. He will be. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I don't know. We'll toss it around, but we will definitely be tuning in and watching his fights and talking about him and talking about his press conference appearances, which are always hilarious. But yeah, we shall see. Definitely want to get Eric Nixick on the show. That'd be cool. And some other folks from Extreme Couture. We did have Action Man on the show, Strickland,
Brad Tavares,
Curtis. We have Brad Tavares on the show, so we will have more
people. Jake Shields is coming on soon.
We're talking about doing that potentially, so we will have more people from Extreme Couture in that community, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes down. All right, final topic. This came out of nowhere. Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather. I can't wait to see what people say about this. People got so mad when Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul. I want to see how they feel about this. Is there going to be the same outrage? Because if there's not, that means that people think that Jake Paul is more dangerous than Floyd Mayweather. And if you remember, Floyd Mayweather beat Logan Paul in their boxing exhibition, beat him very handedly and really rocked him. So that says something. If people are less mad about this than they are about Jake Paul, that says something about where Jake Paul is at right now. I'm just saying. But anyways, Justin, let me first turn it over to you. What do you think of this announcement?
I think it's stupid. Like, a heavyweight taking on a guy that fights at like 140. Like, why? Why are we doing these circus acts? Like, why?
And Tyson's 60 now. Come on.
Like,
we already saw. Yeah.
I just don't understand. Like, Mike Tyson is a fucking legend, man. If you want to watch Mike Tyson, go to YouTube. Watch Mike Tyson in his prime, because all the new people, the new generation of fighters and fans are going to watch this guy and be like, this guy doesn't look that bad. It's like, no, look back in the day before he went to jail, after he went to jail. Like, listen, dude, when I'm running, like when I'm getting ready for a fight, I just put on Mike Tyson interview highlights, and there's 30-second compilations, there's 45-second compilations, like, of him just talking shit to his opponents on stage. The best trash talker I have ever seen. People are like, oh, Muhammad Ali's great, but he never told people that he's like, I'm gonna fuck you till you love me. I'm gonna fucking just the craziest outlandish shit, telling female reporters to shut up, don't talk to me, women, you're not allowed to talk, you're a woman, and shit like that. And it's like, to have those guts. Can you imagine someone talking like that now? Like nowadays, like, they'd be canceled right away. Mike Tyson is a legend. Don't take away from what he's done.
Tyson's great. Okay. I got to say something, though, too, about Floyd Mayweather. I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather. He annoys me so badly, but in a weird way that makes me, I have to admit, as much as this fight annoys me, I'm going to watch it. And I want to see Tyson. I think everybody's going to be with me. We all want to see Mike Tyson knock Floyd Mayweather out. But let me ask you this, Justin. Is that going to be possible at this point? Yeah, Floyd's not young, but Floyd's in his still mid to early 40s. He's younger than me, I think. I think he's like 43 or something. Like, I'm still pretty fast and I'm still pretty athletic. That's a big difference to 60. You know what I mean? So even though there's that weight advantage that goes to Mike Tyson, I mean, do you think he's going to be able to knock Floyd out?
Floyd Mayweather, I don't care for him, just like you. He's the greatest defensive boxer of all time. You know, I give hats where it's deserved, and he deserves that. He's the greatest defensive boxer of all time. Mike Tyson doesn't put 3, 4, 5, 6 punch combos together. He's going to throw 1 or 2 punches at a time. Floyd only has to move his head to he's not going to come in like jab, cross, hook, cross, or jab, cross, hook, overhand. It's going to be a big overhand, maybe that uppercut hook, you know, put him against the fence, maybe uppercut. Like, it's all going to be 2, 3 punch shots. Mike Tyson's set in his ways. You know, he likes that lead uppercut to that lead hook, followed up with, you know, I mean, Floyd Mayweather's way too smart, way too fast, way too sharp to be knocked out by Mike Tyson.
Matthew says, horrible, horrible fight. It's just a money grab and nobody should watch. And Western says, great idea, Matthew. Can you get Strickland on the, I mean, going back to Strickland on the show, I assume Justin we could probably work it out.
I mean, I asked him to do, I asked him to do something a while back. I don't remember if it was for our show or what it was. I can't remember exactly what it was. But he's like, oh, that'll be, it was some, you know, it wasn't me. Somebody asked him in front of me.
And he wanted money, right?
And he wanted like $3,000 or something like that. But maybe because I have a relationship with him, maybe he'll overlook that, or we can give him 15 minutes or whatever. I just saw him at the gym an hour ago or 2 hours ago. So.
I mean, we like I said, and look, we're doing our thing. If he wants to come on at some point or whatever, and it makes sense, I think it'd be cool. I'm not going to go chasing after him, or if you know what I mean. And also, I don't want to put pressure on Justin but if he's open, I mean, yeah, I guess we could. I could potentially do it, but I think our show is doing just fine with me and Justin as is, and with the other guests we got. So I think we'll just see what happens. We'll play it by ear. But coming back to this fight, what's the percentage chance? And I sadly think it's high. What's the percentage chance that this fight is just a straight up stinker?
100%. I mean, what do you think is going to be the only thing that could happen exciting? There's only one thing, and that's if Mike Tyson knocks Floyd Mayweather out. That's it.
Great.
So what? 0.1%? Like, what is Mike Tyson going to go in there and dance around and pick him apart at range and then run away when Floyd tries to counter?
You know what we need? We need Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor in MMA. That's what we need.
Never happened.
Apparently, Floyd at one point was training MMA and he was entertained. That's what I heard. He was training MMA for like 6 months and he's like, nah, screw this, dog. Like, there's no way I'm going into an MMA fight. That would be cool. I'd like to see that. But yeah, Matthew says 99 to 100% chance that
essentially Mike Tyson's just going to walk at him like essentially Mike Tyson's going to be a big heavy bag thudding through the ring, trying to follow, and he's going to be picking them apart running. It's going to be the easiest payday Floyd Mayweather's probably ever have, or one of them.
It makes me angry that I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to watch it. It pisses me off. Okay, let's compare this. And by the way, everybody got so mad at Jake Paul for fighting Tank. I think that's a way more interesting, way better fight than this fight. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree?
Who's Tank? Tank who?
Gervonta Tank Davis.
Oh, yeah. What do you think this fight's more exciting than that fight?
I think Jake Paul's more exciting. I'd much rather watch Jake Paul fight Tank Davis than.
Absolutely, for sure, because both guys are still in their physical prime, of course.
Exactly, and it's an interesting challenge. Like, it's an interesting the way you explain it. Like, for Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson, it's a small chance that Mike Tyson's going to win. That's what everybody wants. He's probably not going to get the knockout. Floyd's just going to agitate us with his defensive fighting. He's going to run around the ring, like you said. It's gonna suck. Yeah, I'm annoyed. I'm more annoyed that I'm still going to probably watch it, but yeah. I'll
probably watch the first round. The first round is going to dictate exactly how the fight's going to go. Mike Tyson knocks him out in the first or the second, and then the rest of the fight is going to play out the way it goes.
You know, it's a weird thing if you think about it. The two biggest fights in boxing right now, neither of them are Canelo versus Crawford. Like, both of these fights are bigger. What is that? Like, that says something bad, very bad about boxing. That is Jake Paul versus Tate Davis, which has got this crazy weight discrepancy. And then again, you have Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson, who's 60, which might be the biggest fight. Like, that's kind of weird. That says something, I think, about boxing where it's at right now. But anyways, it is what it is. We just want to talk about this. We talked about it for way too long already, but that it has been announced that is going down. Floyd Mayweather's being annoying as per usual, showing himself on a private jet with bags of money and saying, hey, everybody's mad at me. Well, too bad, I'm winning, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Floyd will be Floyd. And he will be broke probably in like 5 years, regardless of how much money he's making, because that's Floyd Mayweather. That's how he lives his life and spends his money. But hey, not exactly hating. I'm just saying what I feel. It is what it is. All right. Matthew says, if it's free, I'll watch if nothing else is on. I just hate to admit it, but I'm going to watch it. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, please click that like button. It really helps. We got 14 people on the stream. If we get at least 14 likes right now, we would really appreciate it. It goes a long way. And we will be back on Monday, 1:30 p.m. PST, of course. And next weekend, Justin and I are going to Fusion Fight League to commentate out in Montana. If you guys happen to be in the area, come by and check out the show, or you can tune in on the stream, support us that way. And last but not least, too, we also have memberships that are open now. If you do want to learn to fight and learn to train, you can see videos from Justin James, Extreme Couture trainer and professional mixed martial artist with 79 fights in total, 5 fights in the UFC. So make sure to check that out. We'd love to have you as a member. That's all we got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let's go Imavov versus Kyle tomorrow. And we'll see you on Monday to talk about everything. Take it easy.